Welcome to this episode of Renovations for Beginners, a show where we show you, the viewers at home, the fundamentals to renovating from conceptualising an idea to bringing it to reality. I'm Michael Dre, your host for the show. You can follow us on Facebook, just search Renovations for Beginners, or you can email us on any aspects to renovating or questions you may want answered for upcoming shows, hopefully for season 2, on renovationsforbeginners@gmail.com. On today's show, we look back at the season thus far, just recapping everything that we spoke about. And unfortunately, our guest for today didn't make it, so a project supervisor of mine has kindly stepped in to give us some advice. And Nick, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's all in a day's work, apparently. Jump in.
It's good to see the boss has given you some time off to do the show.
Oh yeah, he's very understanding. I think you know that.
So Nick, you haven't been privy to all the previous episodes, but we spoke about the briefs and the budgets, DAs, BAs, getting documents together, going out to tender, and the build process. Now, Nick, first of all, we're going to be talking about briefs and budgets, which was our dream stage.
Okay.
And the couple of things that we wanted to talk about is with the brief is that you have you separate your needs from your wish lists. And can you tell us why?
It's very important. It is the first step that most clients will have some sort of an idea of what they want, but they really need to define it in a list. And making the definition between a wish and a need is very important at the very beginning, because it will help you down in the further stages, especially with budget and that sort of thing.
Yeah, just so if you go over your budget when you start getting it costed, you can start deleting stuff from the wish list.
It gives you a priority. It puts everything in an easily accountable list. Prioritise it.
And the second thing you need to know about is also, with your architect. I know with Kat, who was on last week's episode, and her and Stuart got along quite well. You noticed that on site because you were actually the foreman on
the project. Supervisor on that site, and they did get on very, very well. And it helped with, especially with little problems that came up, or if there was some issues there, then a very good relationship with the architect will make the process a lot more seamless, help it flow better, and then that goes down the line, obviously, to the builders and project managers and subcontractors. It works all the way through.
Just the morale, the morale on the job from start to finish. You were there. It went quite well. We had our moments and the little hiccups and all that.
Every job does,
But I think we had more laughs than
cries.
Pretty much. Yeah. And also, so you got your brief, you got your architect, and then you got to set a budget.
That's right. And this is where I guess a lot of the wish part of the list might disappear.
Might not make it,
Yeah.
And it's important when you do, set a budget that you don't overcapitalise. And from last week's episode with Kat, she did mention there that her and Simon did research with all the properties in the area that were renovated and what they actually bought for the property, and that the difference was what they could spend on their renovation. And also, if we go back to episode 1, I did mention the $2,000 a square metre for a renovation for your construction budget. That's just a guide, and that gets you in the ballpark anyway. And now that you take time, you need to take time to settle on a concept plan, don't you? Because if you don't, cost.
Yeah, you can have a huge wish list at the start, but you really need to start refining it, and this is where your concept comes in.
And if you take time to, develop the concept plan, and review it. Like I know from last week's episode, Kat, she mentioned there that they went through 3 concept plans, and if you don't, you know, it's going to cost more to knock out walls and change things later.
Definitely. Like it's like anything, the more time you put into preparation beforehand, the smoother the end result will be, and more likely to meet your needs.
And also take time to get a builder to cost the job, you know, at that concept stage. Like, you know that I do that a fair bit when I'm not on site, doing cost plans.
And it's just a prelim cost, but it lets people know, you know, a general idea, ballpark figure, so they know if they're, you know, if the job that they want, they can't afford, or they can afford, or
that's it.
Yeah.
And now, obviously, from last week's episode, Kat mentioned there that they didn't need to get a DA because part of their brief was to make sure it was in that building envelope. And if you do need to get a development approval, you need to get a town planner on board because
and you need to do that very early.
Yep.
And I guess the concept you'll have for that sort of thing would be a lot more stringent, lot more refined than it would be for others. And
getting a town planner on board to get you through that DA process would save you a lot of time and money through council. Yeah. And once you do that, you get a building approval. And I know one of our show's advertisers there, they can help you with that. And then once you get your building approval, you can then start looking at finalising your designs and getting them detailed. And
then searching for a builder, I guess.
Searching for a builder?
Yeah.
Do you know any good builders?
No, not off the top of my head.
I think we're best to take a break and we'll be right back.